Welcome to the Limitless Leaders podcast. This is a show where my guests and I explore and expand on all things mindset, leadership, and communication. On the show, I interview inspiring leaders, business owners, and entrepreneurs from all walks of life, where they share their stories, experiences, and lessons. This is a podcast for you if you're looking to learn, grow, and accelerate your life, career, and who you are. Hi, and welcome to the Limitless Leaders podcast, where we interview people from all walks of life, from business owners, thought leaders, authors, CEOs, and people making a difference in the world. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of introducing you to Ella Zhang, who is an organisational development specialist and founder of the Institute of Growing Capacity, iGrow. So the iGrow was established with a mission to cater to individuals and businesses seeking to integrate human-centric principles into their operations, foster optimal personal and professional development, and make meaningful contributions to society at large. At iGrow, Ella and her team adopt a comprehensive approach aimed at facilitating growth in knowledge, wisdom, and overall fulfillment. And her range of services include advisory, consulting, and coaching in passions of mine, field leadership and transformation. Welcome, Ella.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you for having me here.
Absolute pleasure. And you've just published your book, Upgrade, which I absolutely love. Upgrade: How to Outperform Your Default Self to Gain Your Superpowers. So I thought it was really timely to have you on the Limitless Leaders podcast to get a bit of a thought about your thinking and some of the great concepts and models in the book. To kick off today, I'd love to just probably ask you, how have you become who you are today?
Wow, that's a very simple question to answer. That's a very simple question to answer, Renee. How do I think I did make several turns in my life. When I look back from where I am today, it's a cliche. Whatever happened in our history, the adversities, the challenges, the difficulties we have in our past, those are truly the turning point to shape who we are today. So when I started, I think in high school, when I was 17, I still remember that vision. When I was 17, I have this vision that I was the person lighting up the street lamps in a dark road. So back then, in my 17-year-old mind, I thought, okay, my future career probably is something I need to do to help people. Yeah. So what can be the things to help me to help people? So I decided to get into law because I think, if I practice as a lawyer, I can speak for the people who cannot speak for themselves. So I did go to the law school and passed my bar examination. And with this passion and this very strong justice that I'm going to conquer the world. Then 6 months into it, I realized, okay, I do not have the personality that is required to be the lawyer I wanted to be. And probably that environment is not suitable for me at all. Mm-hmm. And also during that 6 months, I experienced the collapse of the believing system, which means whatever I believed was true during those 22 years, it turned out to be unnecessarily to be true. Yeah. So I did experience that kind of desperation. What is the next? Am I going to stay or stuck in this environment forever? Yeah. So luckily, somehow I have this courage against all the objections from my family and the extended family. And I quit the job and I come to Australia, which is the country that my entire family has zero connection with.
Amazing. Yeah.
Get to study, but also as an international student, you have no idea what you need to study. So I choose finance because I thought finance is hard for my brain. Math is never my forte. So I thought, oh, probably going to take longer for me to get bored. So I come to study and get my master here and I start to work in the financial institutions. And then I realize I hate numbers. But I prefer human. I prefer to have lots of conversation with people. I prefer to work with people rather than just stay behind a computer to working on the numbers. So I think that is the starting point for me to searching what is my strengths, what are the things I do well, and feel lots of joy when I'm doing that. So also very lucky, my first few years in the financial institutions here allow me to get exposure to lots of mergers and acquisitions, which means we have a bunch of people came from very different background, professional background, and the different maturities. Now they have to work together. So there's a lot of clash in personalities and the styles. So that make me feel extremely curious about human behaviors.
Love that.
So that's the start. That's the start. Start to explore how can we perform well if even we are different? How can on the individual level that we can achieve what we feel aspire to achieve, but also at the same time, the company can benefit from us. So 20 years ago, I guess that's the start because I really followed my curiosity to explore, to learn. I feel like working in the space of learning development and OD, like every day is the learning ground for us.
It is. Something different every day. Look, I love that. I'm a big believer in the gift mindset, which is, something I live by, and that's my latest book. And it's all around the challenges, the challenging people and situations, and the success that we have with people and experiences are gifts that we need to unwrap and use those lessons to become who we are and who we're continually becoming. And you used a word that I love, which is one of my values, which is curiosity.
Yes.
And it's a journey, right? And I love that you went from behind the scenes in numbers to being out the human aspect, connecting. And, connection, we know we're all wired to connect. We're social animals. And I think understanding people and leveraging diversity is a passion of yours, and it's what I do for a living too, and it's so important.
Yes.
So many questions to ask you, but I think at the end of the day, it's about being open to that journey. And I'd love to sort of jump into your new book, Upgrade, and have a chat about that. So in the book, the book's all about connecting the dots to knowing who you are at a deep level in order to make impact in the world for good, right? For good. Something I loved in your book was that you've got the different operating systems we have, the internal operating system. Can you just really top line, just run through what the book's about and what the 4 operating systems are, just to give our listeners and viewers, a taste of what that is?
Okay. I don't think it's a new concept. I think this concept has been existing for a while, just no one write a book in the context of the organization.
Yeah.
As a human being, in my view, we operate simultaneously on the 4 inner operating system: mental operating system in charge of our way of thinking, the process of thinking. So this is related to how we make decisions and make choices.
Yeah.
And another one, emotions.
Yeah.
So these days, neuroscience is so popular in the corporate world. I guess it's a common sense that 95% of the decisions we made we're driven by our emotions. So we're not as rational as we thought. So if leaders in the organizations, we do not tap into our emotion side to understand what triggers that and what are the benefits, how can I leverage the emotions so we can motivate and engage and inspire others, we're actually going to lose the game.
Yeah.
The third system is the physical system. I work with a lot of knowledge workers. So we have this belief that my smartness is only in my brain. But I think one thing people missing is brain is a part of the body.
That's
so
right.
if we do not understand how to nurture and build up our body, our mind, our brain going to lose the capacity to focus, to be sharp, to think, to look the bigger pictures, to make the right decisions for us. The fourth system that I personally feel extremely resonant with and related with is the spiritual operating system. Yeah. When I'm talking about a spiritual operating system, I'm not talking about religions. I'm talking about the values, beliefs, and the principles. Because in business world, we tend to witness lots of battles on the individual level between their ego, the spirit. Yes. So in business, we train leaders how to be inspiring and engaging and inclusiveness. What do we truly train about? We train them to realize what is their ego. And how do we make a peace with our ego? And how can we tame our ego so our ego do not jump into the picture to make a fuss of us? So those are the four systems that I'm talking about.
Love it. I absolutely love it. We do our brand's Limitless Leaders, and it's all about those four areas. And
lovely.
and I resonate exactly with what you're saying, because we've got the mental, we've got the emotional, we've got the physical, we've got the spiritual. They're all connected. They should not be looked at an operating system running in isolation, right?
No, they're all intricate, interplay with each other. So when you upgrade one system, you might see the impact on the other three systems because all connect with each other.
They are. And I love in the book, and for those that are watching this, if you're listening, we're on all platforms, but you can also access the videos where you've got actual, I'm on the wrong side here, little quizzes and things you can do to see where you sit in each of those operating systems. For those out there listening right now, Ella, like, just what would be to tap into your mental operating system? Just give me one question they could ask themselves.
Okay. What is the thoughts behind my actions?
Yes, love that.
What is the thoughts behind my actions? Or my choices, my decisions? Because sometimes I think that if the leader can get a clarity about that, very likely we can align our actions with our intention and make the impact that we expected. But in workplace, I witnessed way too many leaders, good intention, terrible action, and missed out the outcome they wanted.
You're spot on there. And I think I say we've become human doings instead of human beings, and we default and we just keep thinking. I always say your thoughts create your feelings and therefore your outcomes. And sometimes your feelings create your thoughts and therefore your outcomes. So if you're listening or watching this, have a think about a thought that keeps coming up even right now. What feeling are you getting from that? And what potentially will this get you to do or do not do?
Exactly.
So I love that. What about emotional? What's a question people could ask themselves to tap into their emotional operating system?
Okay, emotion is a purely physiological phenomenon. So for thought leaders or the knowledge workers, one thing we probably need to start to pay attention to is our sensations in the body. That's how emotions speaks to us. But speak for myself, when I first start to practice noticing the sensations in my body, I noticed nothing. So it's feel like all my sensation just in my head and my the neck down does not exist. So that does require lots of discipline to practice, pay attention to the sensations in the body. So then we have the capacity to regulate our emotional reactions.
Yes. I love that. What you said then just resonated so much with me. Sometimes we lead and live from the head. It's like surviving, especially through the pandemic. I'm Ella. I'm a highly intuitive person, and very spiritual.
Yeah,
feeling energy and all that sort of thing. When we go into a default mode of busyness, trying to get things done, trying to survive, not necessarily thrive, I think we almost become detached. And
totally.
If you're not watching the video, when Ella explained that, she sort of put her hand under her chin, and it's about tapping into what's deeper. I struggle with it still, but things that help me are meditation, but my meditation's cooking. I'm not
cool.
When I cook without a recipe,
I
go into flow and I notice different feelings and different thoughts and emotions come up. What are some other things our listeners could do to tap into their emotion or to do emotion? Because some people just put it to a wayside.
Yes, lots of people, just particularly high achievers in the organizations that I work with, they tend not to look into their emotions. I will suggest them. For example, one technique I personally benefit a lot, besides of the meditation mindfulness, I do journaling. I tend to write. So this is the way I feel, okay, instead of just go to your best friend to vent, probably vent in your journal is a better solution, because usually your best friend, if they're not trained to help people to process emotions, your vent won't help you to progress. It's probably going to just help you to stuck in where you are. But if you can just pick up a pen to write about your thoughts, about your feelings, about your emotions regards to this situation, that could be a best way to help you to process your emotions.
Perfect. Journaling. I journal a little bit. I do a progress journal.
Yeah.
I want clients to do that. So, progress is a human motivation for most people. Journaling's a great idea. Letter writing. Ella, I recently wrote an article on the lost art of letter writing. No one puts an email on the mantelpiece. Some people probably do. And I've had a lot of radio interviews about it. And I think writing, as in your book, you talk about it, it helps you externalize your thoughts. Exactly. It's a great way to have forced self-reflection. And even if you write a letter to yourself, which is what a journal is, right? It's just getting it out. So I love that. So for the mental operating system, we've talked about really be mindful of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. For the emotional operating system, we've talked about journaling, doing something that's mindful to tap into how your body's feeling and connecting the head, heart, and gut.
Yes.
What about the physical? What's something our listeners could do to upgrade their physical operating system?
Okay, there's multiple things to do in terms of the physical, but because I assume lots of the people we work with, they are high achievers. So we tend to get excited with stress. And probably we already built some habits to deal with the stress. In my view, I love stress. Higher stress means I can deal with that. I get excitement.
It's drive. It gives you drive.
Exactly. But also, in my book, I highly recommend, if we can understand our heart rate variations, we can build a routine of the days, allow us to experience high stress, but also high recover. So as long as we can recover from the stress, our body are totally fine with it. So how can we do that? I start to use different kind of devices to monitor our body, because intuitively, our mind probably not so connected with our bodily performance. So if we want our body to perform for our benefit, we need to understand how it works. So in terms of physical, I highly recommend get any kind of smartphones, devices you can get, Whoop or Aura that I mentioned in my book.
Aura Ring, yeah.
Aura Ring. Yeah, start to notice how your body reacts to the daily activities that you go through and see how your body function during those high and low moments. Then we can put intervention in place to allow our body to function much better. Because these days I believe everyone have the common sense. You need to eat well, sleep well, exercise well.
Yeah.
But then if we do not make connections with all those things to our physical body, I have no data to support or inform us, it's very hard for us to build a habit.
Yeah. So you're suggesting different devices to understand your body. Even, and I've read your book, there's some great tips in there. And I highly recommend getting the book, Upgrade, and we'll give you some links to the book in our show notes. Is there anything else we can do? I'd love just to ask just a really quick tip around sleep.
Okay. I slowly made myself to be an early riser and an early sleeper. I always tell my friend now I became a zombie at night because I cannot really, because my mind is easily get excited for conversations. So after 8 o'clock, no conversations.
Yeah.
So the only tips I would love to give people is unnecessary how many hours you slept, but it's the quality of the sleep. The purpose we do sleep is we need to recover from the stress and it can strengthen the memories. So even during the day, if you do need to have some downtime for yourself, give yourself permission to have a 10 minutes nap.
Yeah.
Just to do a simply body scan that is a deep rest for your body and your mind. So give yourself the permission to do that because back-to-back meetings does not equal to high performing. Up and down of the schedule, give yourself some recover. So with leaders I coach, I highly recommend them to build at minimum 15 minutes of a break between your meetings, or at least once a day or once a week, depends where you are now, put some blank time in your diary. So no one can book meetings with you during that time. So you need to get 10 or 15 minutes to do anything you need to do, but just quiet yourself down a little bit, because this helps you to deal with more complex situations.
Yeah, I love that. It's about recalibrating, isn't it? And and I love what you've said. I think a quick nap, if you can do that, or I can't go to sleep easily. So if I've got, like today, we've got 4 podcasts we're producing, and I'll have a 10-15 minute break in between, have something to eat, be away from a screen. It's just whatever it is for you, isn't it? What works for you. But my nonna, I'm half Italian, and my nonna always said to me, it's the hours before midnight are worth double the hours after midnight. And I don't have a lot of sleep. I've always gone to bed late and got up early. I've always been like that. But even getting to bed by 10, difference is unbelievable. And even changing, I read at night. I read a book a week. So I read at night, but even changing what I'm reading, because I'm a thinker.
Yeah.
I was reading your amazing book, I think, Tuesday night in bed, and I was like, wow. Then I couldn't sleep, right? Not blaming you, of course, but I think that's really, really important, knowing what that is for you. What about now the spiritual operating system? And for those listening, we don't mean religion by this. It could be some higher source for you. When I think of spiritual, I think about forgiveness, I think about beliefs, I think about values. I do, Ella, you might not know, I do a lot of emotional clearing in our coaching sessions. We go through the different parts of the body and clear certain emotions. There's some great ones in your book, but what's one tip people could do to really reset their spiritual operating system?
Okay. There's a question I always ask my coaching clients. Make decisions for your business, for your department.
Yes.
Think about impact, not just for your success, for your team's success, for your organizational success, for the society's success.
Yeah.
So we do not make decisions only feel for the moment that we success and we compromise the benefits on all the other people. Because for a leader, when our spiritual operating system is up and running, we know exactly, we have the clarity to know the impact of the decisions we made in the now and the here might have the impact on the others that I don't even know their existence, maybe after generations. So that's why we need to understand the impact. So think a little bit further. Who's going to be beneficial from your decision now? Whose benefits are probably going to be compromised or taxed because of the choices you make now? Sometimes the senior you get, it's very hard to have a clear direction, which way to go. It feels like we always have to sacrifice something for some gains. But in my view, it's unnecessary to be one or the other. Can we be more creative to find a third solution of that? Because this is the moment for us to practice what is our core values and principles. So there's a certain things we don't bend. We don't bend it for a reason. And for leaders, because leaders are looking upwards by all their people. So what leaders do or don't do or choose to how to do it, they all pointing to some directions of the purpose. So through actions, through the decisions we made, we need to have the ability to interpret that from multiple perspectives. Then we can make decisions that benefit all, not just for ourselves.
I love that. And it comes back, doesn't it, to values. And, a lot of people will go, what do you mean? Values to me are just the 3 to 5 important things in your life that become the linchpin to your decisions, and like what you're talking about, your purpose. So knowing those, and I love what you said, Ella, around you don't know the impact you're making. Just because people might not say something or call it out, your ripple can become a wave. So having that, absolutely. I just resonate, with all of these things. So really step back and, when we're busy, we default. So take the time to think about, how am I upgrading my mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual operating system? Amazing. Two little quotes you gave me, which I just love, or little lessons.
It's
how we treat ourselves speaks loudly about our leadership.
Yes.
I really agree with that. You can't, and I believe, Ella, we're all leaders, by the way, leaders of self. We can't lead others. It's like you can't love someone else if you don't love yourself.
Totally. So this is the thing I feel at this stage. It's quite useful for the society or for the business context, but business sectors, because we have so many training. We have such a high demand for the leadership in the business
hybrid work, AI, strategy, technology. There's so much going on.
Exactly. I sometimes do feel compassion for the leaders. They're pulled away by different directions. Can we really create this bubble to allow ourselves to go inward a little bit, to nurture ourselves a little bit, nurture in a way, provide all the nutrition to our mind and the body and the thoughts and the beliefs, nutrition to that. Then we can really tap into our inner wisdom to deal with all the chaotic world outside ourselves.
It's just so important. I'm quite passionate too about putting in what I call a power hour once a week. Where you prioritize time with yourself, because I don't know any leader that cancels meetings with others, but how easy is it to do to ourselves if it's not in the diary? So I think that's important. And it leads into your other lesson, which is to inspire and motivate others, we must get intimate.
Yes.
First, connect to ourselves first.
Yes. The other day I wrote an article for this magazine talking about why and how leaders need to build intimate relationship with themselves first.
Yeah.
We can naturally start to engage and build bonding, deep bonding with our people and inspire them. Because if we do not know how to deal with our mental needs, physical needs, emotional needs, spiritual needs, there's no clue for us to understand how others treated. So all the leadership behaviors come down to the connections with people. And that connections is on the human side. It's not on the technology side or the people side. Yeah, right. So it's a people, it's a human. So we are the first subject for us to study.
Yeah.
So if we understand ourselves intimately, there's opportunity for us to understand others.
Yeah.
Understand all those unspoken, unwritten, unexpressed needs.
Yeah.
Human level.
I agree. And, they're saying there's a statistic that by 2030, 2/3 of jobs will be focused just on soft skills or what we call life or human skills.
Wow, lovely.
And it's getting back to the human piece, and it's just so important. We could talk for hours, but I have a question for you.
Yes.
Who's a leader you admire and why? And when I ask this question for those listening or watching, one of the leaders I admire is my mum, right? I love Richard Branson. I love Robin Sharma. They don't have to be famous people. They can be your partner. Who's someone you admire and why for their leadership skills?
I actually don't have a name for you, but I can tell you what I admire, and that has been my inspirations a long time in my life. So I admire people to have this inner strength to deal with life, challenges, difficulties, because no matter who you are, we put on this planet, this is my belief, we put on this planet to know ourselves first, then to contribute. When we know ourselves so clear, there's no chance we become the cancerous cell in the society. So we know ourselves. So in my life, I guess, starting from very young age, I was drawn to people who have the inner strength.
Yeah.
It can be my mom, can be my classmates, can be my colleagues. So I built a network around me.
Yeah. Support. You need it.
I have many people like this in my life. They always have one moment to make me feel, wow, I see that inner strength in you. And I just drawn to this kind of energy. So these are the leaders that I admire, no matter they have the titles or not.
Yeah, it's a choice. It's a choice. Some of the best leaders I see in a lot of businesses don't actually have a team, right? So it's all about a choice. Yes. And I think, and this with mirror neurons and that sort of thing, the thing we admire in others, we usually have within ourselves.
Yes.
Which I think you have in spades. If you were to give our listeners just one quick tip to upgrade to make more impact, what's that one tip they can walk away with today?
Okay. Know yourself through all the interaction that you had with others. Know yourself within all the experience you have, because those are the people, events, situation was put in front of you for you to know yourself.
For a reason and a lesson. Yeah.
Know yourself. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I've got 4 really quick trivia questions. The first one is, it's your last night on this beautiful planet. Yeah. What would you eat?
What do I eat? Oh, very hot pot.
Hot? Yeah, yum.
Hot.
Getting hungry and it's sunny early morning. What's your favourite word, Ella?
Oh, inspiration or wisdom?
Beautiful. Favourite noise? Oh,
ocean, rain.
Rain, yeah.
Rain. Yes.
Especially when you hear the rain on the roof and you go, I've got to get up. Oh, it's Saturday morning. Isn't that
rain make me happy somehow?
Yeah. And if you did something different as a career, what would that look like?
wow, I still want to be the lawyer. I hope I have the personality to be the lawyer that I wanted to be. But lawyer. But currently, I feel like when I thought about lawyer justice, when I thought about OD, it's a potential.
Oh, I love that.
First focus.
That is so good. That'd be a good blog post for you to write. I love it.
I do that. Yes.
So thank you so much for being on the show. I love your energy. I love your thought leadership. How do people find you and how can they purchase your amazing new book, Upgrade?
Okay, this book pretty much is available all the mainstream book distributors like Amazon. And the people can also come to my personal website, ellazhang.com.au, and there's a page for the book. Yes, particularly if you want to purchase a book with my writing on it, my handwriting on that, probably have to go to my website.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much, Ella, for being on the show. Thank you for everybody out there that's been listening or watching, and I'm sure you would have gleaned some amazing gold from Ella. As always, if you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your network and leave a review. And just looking ahead, we've got lots of amazing in-house programs at the moment. Just go to reneegiarrusso.com under programs. We've got our Cook and Connect one-day retreat that we can run for your teams in-house. And I'm pleased to say in our free resources at reneegiarrusso.com, we are giving away a brand new 90-day placemat planner that you can use. And there's quite a few elements we've discussed with Ella today that are on there. So, make sure you maximise those free resources. Thanks for listening and have a great day or night from wherever you're chiming in from.
Lovely.
Thank you for listening to the Limitless Leaders podcast. So you don't miss an episode, make sure you follow the show in your favourite podcast app. Feel free to share this podcast with your family, friends, and work colleagues. If you're enjoying the show, find out more on what we do at RG Dynamics at www.reneegiarrusso.com. Until next time, be limitless.